Hello, YouTube friends. Cheddar here. Thank you for joining me for another tier list video. Today we've got kind of a surprise here. We've got a challenger approaching. We've got Devin. While Devin appears, so Devin is making this tier list video. First off, too, thank you for joining me for this video. I hope you're doing well and have a great day. We're trying something new. We're trying a dual tier list here, a collab tier list, and we're making a Daft Punk albums tier list. So this is going to be ranking the Daft Punk albums. And Daft Punk is electronic music band. I don't really think they need introduction if you've heard of them already. So right. It's who hasn't?
Probably listening to them in the background.
Probably right now, yeah. Probably got Human After All or something playing right now. Anyway, so Devin, do you want to? We'll talk briefly about our history with getting into Daft Punk, so we can explain just how we got to like them. If you just want to see the tier list, just skip towards the end of the video, and you don't have to do the talking. But it's fun to hear talk about the music too. So that's what we're here to do. Did you want to talk about how you found Daft Punk out? Because
sure. Yeah, it'd probably be, just looking at my notes here. It would probably be the animated movie Interstellar 5555. Like this, it's called The Story of the Secret Star System. It was like they made an anime movie, like concert film or something, in the early 2000s, and my friend had like the VHS tape or something, or we watched it on like Toonami. But yeah, they had like music videos for like some of the songs on Discovery. So that's cool. Actually what introduced me. So back when Discovery was like new still, like
it was a fresh album.
2000s, yeah. And then I was just like, whoa, what is this? Like harder, better, faster, stronger. So like sounded way different than what I normally was listening to like at the time. So
especially, that would be a strange, that's a interesting song to hear for the first time, because when you hear Daft Punk, I don't feel like you hear anything like it for the first time. I mean, my history with them is I didn't know about them until you told me about them when we became friends in several years ago. It's about 15 years ago now, almost 20. It was when we were trading music, and I was showing you some of the metal I was listening to, and you showed me the two bands that have really stuck with me through those years since that time, and as almost friendship defining, is Daft Punk and Jamiroquai. So Jamiroquai is another band I still go back to. Maybe we'll do a tier list for them sometime. That would be cool to do a tier list, and there's more.
They don't really, seems like they don't get much appreciation, like on the internet.
They don't get a lot of love, and I think JK can shake things up sometimes, and maybe that's why. But I mean, they still have a lot of good music to go through, so it's worth going through and making a tier list for them. But that's how I found Daft Punk, was you showed me them, and so
I thought about that before, but I couldn't remember if you had heard them before that. So
I probably may have heard them on something, but especially if it was on Toonami
or something else.
But there's I was unfamiliar with them, and when you said check out Daft Punk or here's Daft Punk, I didn't know what this was, and you showed me Discovery basically, and that's even in my metal time when I didn't really like, I was kind of an elitist metalhead. I was just, if it's not metal, it's not worth listening to. Daft Punk, I did like Daft Punk, and I was like, okay, I should listen to some more electronic music. So
nice.
Daft Punk won me over, and
that's awesome.
In a time where it was hard to, and they've always stuck with me. So that's
they stand the test of time, I'd say. So like as a band, so
they do. Any of the albums are still great to go through. So
true.
Even nowadays. So I wish they had more albums, but I mean, I guess that's a different sad story.
It's true,
because it feels like they ended on a whimper too. They made an album in 2013. Were silent for about 10 years, and then just said, we're done.
And that was like their biggest album, probably, like on the charts. I think at least Get Lucky was like a top 10 single.
It was huge. it was the song of the summer. It was that song of the year almost too, because it was just
it was a huge big moment. So is that like I remember at least, but we'll probably talk more.
Kind of as you said with it put Pharrell on the map too, or not on the map, but it helped restore him. Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's true. It did. Yeah, he even credits them for that. So
that's cool that he does that.
Yeah,
it's cool that
he understands, like, and he was good in the song too, so he helped them as well. But they were, it was just an awesome collab. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's perfect in the song, and I'm not really a Pharrell fan. I'm not very unfamiliar with his work, but songs like "Happy," I don't like the song.
Oh, and I get it.
And so, the "Get Lucky" is awesome song. But I guess we'll start with we'll go to before I do the tier list, we'll do just some tier list house rules. This just explaining the tier list. So, anything that is in F tier is the ones we don't like. Anything that's D and up, we like a little bit. D just means disappointed. It means it's lacking. Didn't get what you wanted out, or didn't get what we wanted out of the album, but we still like things in it. C is good. I would say C and B, that's mid tier. That's 1 thumbs up. A and S is 2 thumbs up. But just S would be the most special albums. The rest is pretty self-explanatory, great or good. Right. I think I have those as the same color, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Let's, we're going to make a slight tier adjustment. That's kind of silly here. Lighter green for the B.
Nice.
There we go. I like it looking my proper way. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Good. Okay, so this is the tier list, and how we're gonna, because we have 2 people. Normally, the tier list just represents my opinion, so we're gonna have a bit of a tier list game where, to explain how that will work, if I put something in B tier, I'll give my ranking. Then Devin can give his ranking, and if he wants to move something up or down 1, I'll pretty much agree with that. So that way it's a combination of our opinions. So if I put something in B, he puts something in A, I'll move it up to A. If I put something in B and he puts something in S, we're going to meet in the middle. We're going to put it in A tier. So that way it represents a combination of our opinions. My opinions can weigh his down, his can weigh mine down. If we both agree, or if we want to argue a little bit of like, no, I really think this should be S tier, we're fine to do that. But I'm going to try to hold to that rule where we're going to meet in the middle. We haven't scripted this out, so we're going to see just how this plays out, kind of going an experimental tier list here, I suppose.
Exactly.
And we're just going to try to have fun with this. So just remember, this is our opinion. You're probably going to have a different tier list. Let us know your favorite Daft Punk album down below, and if you want to post your tier list, that's cool too.
For sure.
I'll look at that. But we'll go with the first Daft Punk album. We'll start with the tiers. Let's see. The first one is oh my gosh, Homework. Sometimes it blurs together.
Oh, no,
but Homework, the first one. Do you know what year this came out?
97.
97. Dang, that's so crazy. Is that almost 30 years old? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We're on the 4th quarter of 2024. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I'm just dropping it here for a moment. Homework is just pretty much you would call it a straight electronic music album, right?
It's
house.
House technically, but I never knew what that even meant back in the day, so I always still called it
I'm still kind of
electronic, like the difference, house and electronic.
To be fair, I'm still kind of uneducated on the electronic music subgenre, so it's all sort of electronic music to me. I do understand that there's a further breakdown.
Right.
For me, I used to like this album a lot more. This time, I'm struggling because Around the World is one of my favorite Daft Punk songs. I love that song, and I love moments on here. But I going through it recently, I think it might be B tier for me. It tends to have moments where I do like the music, but I guess the moment the songs can just feel
go on a bit
one note a bit, and I don't get great experience, like greater experience from the album. It's good, it's solid. I don't really have any complaints to it, but it also doesn't like shake my world, if that makes sense. It's lacking the wow factor for me. So, but I do enjoy it. So for me, it's probably B tier. But
totally understandable. I mean, there are certain tracks that kind of go on a bit long, and like burnin', rock and roll, like that have good, like there's solid concepts, but it's just not interesting enough to carry like the whole runtime, like at least like every time for me. But
same.
But I don't know, the moments that still stand out for me, like I guess I'd probably still do A, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But just because of like the highs. Like
I'm fine putting it in A. It's almost solely because of Around the World.
Highs are high.
Because I love that song so much.
That's like a classic right there.
But so I'm totally fine, because on a good day for me, it is an A album. If I'm in the right mood for what this is doing, I think it does it pretty perfect. I mean, I would maybe shorten the songs or add some variation in there a little bit, but I don't have a lot of like asks or preferences about this album. I just think that some of their other work has more of my favorite stuff, but this has Around the World, and that's a top tier Daft Punk song for me. So I'm fine giving this an A. And
but I totally understand the people, some criticisms this has, though, for sure. So like, because like it's like a dance, like it's awesome on the dance floor and stuff, but if you're just listening at home, hanging out, it might not be the most interesting, like in that setting, like just to go through the whole thing, like the whole, from beginning to end. So I can get that.
Sometimes it's just doesn't have the but it still has highs on it for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the next one was Discovery, which
has a lot of highs.
I just like to drop them in. Just want to talk about them.
Right. Don't shoot us. This
is just okay. No, I just like dropping things here while I talk about them, because it's kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
What do you know what year this came out? I'm pretty rough with
2001.
2001. Okay. So they had some time in between to work on this one.
They did more homework.
Yeah, they did.
They're ready for the tests now.
So this album is pretty great. It has a lot of my favorite Daft Punk songs on it. Pretty much.
Yeah. Same.
I think there's only one kind of iffy thing I'd say about the album, and you might have this too, but it's on the song Too Long, and I like that song, but it goes on too long. It's like 10 minutes. It's like, I'm just too long.
Yeah.
Can you feel it? I don't have to sing, but it's fun.
It's true. That is 10 minutes, I believe, like exactly 10.
I'm pretty sure it's exactly 10 too. Yeah.
Which is crazy. So, I mean.
But there's in a worst case for me, this album is A tier. When I say that, because there's times where I've heard it and it hasn't done it for me, but I acknowledge it. For me, I think it's S tier. I think it's like the most solid. I'm not well versed in electronic music, but this is the most. When I think of electronic music, I think of this album. This album specifically.
It's one of them,
And there's a lot more I got to discover, but this is like the one I tend to think, it's called Discovery too. But I think putting it in S is appropriate.
Yeah, I would agree. That's where my
cool. I agree. Okay.
Even though, like, yes, it is special, but like you said, I can acknowledge the too long factor, and like even some other tracks that are like, could get repetitive, like, crescendos. Like, I like that song, but I just mean some of it's maybe could be sometimes less interesting, or like, what is it called?
Superheroes for me.
High Life or whatever.
I like superheroes, like the Up Into the Air. I like that one, but sometimes if I'm not in the mood for it, I'll definitely want to turn that track off. So I feel like I have to be somewhat in an electronic mood for this, but for what this album is going for, and just when I'm in an electronic mood, it's a pretty high point of an album. And then
I mean, there's so many highlights from it. It's like
and then you get to tracks like Voyager, and you get Around. Sorry, not Around the World, but Something About Us.
Yes.
There's and Face to Face also. There's
that was which toward the end too. It's crazy.
I would say is kind of, I would call that an electro rock song, not just even
right,
because it has that. It's not just a standard electronic song. It has this like guitar and almost band action to it, and they have a singer in the song, so it feels like I guess an electro rock song, and that's just what I would call that combination of electronic music with a rock song format,
Yeah, and that one almost foreshadowed stuff they could do on Random Access. Like, not exactly, but
I agree.
You could see like they could do music like that. In the future.
That song showed, and exactly that's kind of how I read that too. As it was like
even back then they had these ideas to make tracks like that.
Yeah, band tracks. So it's like, how do we take house music, electronic music, and add a band feel to it?
We could do that, live and stuff like that. Have the singer there and stuff.
Yeah, so it's a discovery. Great album. On a worst case, if I'm like not in the mood for it, I think it's an A tier record for me. But it's overall, I think it's an S. And then that brings us to Human After All.
Yeah.
Which
a divisive, to say the least.
Yes, and
by fans.
I used to not like this one as much, and I think I figured out how to explain my feelings on this one and where I feel how I feel about it. I kind of love it, but the song, I think it's A tier. But here's the thing: is the songs feel almost unfinished or underdeveloped, because I have a theory where if you take about a minute from almost any song off of Human After All, a solid minute, and just hear some of the songs like Steam Machine or Robot Rock, Make Love, and it sounds like it could be their best album. I love so much of the songs in here, but the songs will go on a little too long, and there'll be one note. And it just feels like instead of 5 minutes or 6 minutes of each song, there only needed to be maybe 3 minutes or a little bit of variation. So with Human After All, it's like I love the material there, and I don't mean to overextend, like overcredit the album, but I also think that, and I don't mean to spoil other talks too, but what they did, the songs on here are some of their coolest live tracks, and how they mix those tracks into their other tracks. So it's really the Human After All album that, like, I love when they mix in Robot Rock and Television Rules the Nation. I like a lot of that stuff.
I mean, this came out, I think, 2005, and I believe I read that it was like kind of rushed, like they did it like in a couple of weeks or something like that. So some of it might show in that, like how fast they did.
That's kind of what I said, huh? Underdeveloped or unfinished.
Yeah, it literally was. So, but like you said, it seemed like meant to be live, like experience best live. It seemed like those tracks, like more emphasis, and even on the album, like it seemed like a darker, like rockier type of thing. Like the production was quite different than the slick, like production of Discovery. So it was more rough around the edges and like dark and like mood.
It doesn't feel as clean. It feels more. There's emotion in this album. That's actually why I like it, because it does feel like you could feel tension in this album at points. And songs like Make Love, which is a much more gentle song, I like that one a lot. Robot Rock, I love that song, but it goes on for long. It just kind of says robot. After hearing Robot Rock for 6 minutes,
like robot,
you kind of just feel I get it. Like I get it, and
it's like you're robots and you rock.
But it's like, but when it starts, it's like robot. I love that song.
At least the first half, like 3 to 3/4, it's like holy.
And that's why Steam Machine's another one where it starts off kind of weird, but then gets, I think, kind of cool and interesting. If you take, that's why I said there's minute. I have the theory where you take a minute of each of those songs and it sounds super impressive, and then if you hear the album, it gets less impressive. So I have a feeling most people are probably going to put this in like the B or C territory, but part of me, I feel like I'm rating it on its potential rather than just its full execution. Because in execution, it's a little flawed, and it's flawed, and I feel like might be cheating a little bit by saying like I like the songs, but I skip about halfway through the songs. But but each halfway point of the song just feels great. I will also say I don't like Technologic. I just think it's kind of annoying, and the track after that too. The last two songs I don't like, but
for me, it's interesting. Like about Steam Machine, I kind of hate that.
You kind of hate that song,
just because of it just like the Steam Machine. Like I don't know, like some of it's cool. Like the beginning is kind of weird, but that's like. I don't really mind as much. It's just like them whispering and it goes on for a while. I guess it's just a bit grating for me. It's not just like that track in particular, but I can understand. It's still not like a bad thing. It's just like getting through that. If it maybe was like shorter or different.
Yeah, it's another thing. If it was short, if that was a minute long, right? If that was a minute long. Maybe I think you would be. That's part of my theory where I'm saying you take that to a minute and you have a cool like bridge track, from one song to another.
Right.
And I think Steam Machine would work like that. But with the information you're saying where it was kind of rushed, it doesn't feel like they had time to plan out the album like that and the album momentum. So it feels like a lot of Human After All just feels like they had a good idea and then they carried it on way too much. I know I'm spending the most time with this one, but it's because I actually like this one a lot. I might be just a champion. Where would you put it? Do you think it's B? Are we bringing it down? We'll give it S, right? I know it's not S. It's not.
Yeah, it probably would be C for me.
C? Okay.
Like just because I do like some, it does have its high points too, but like you said, the tracks go on a while and television rules the nation, like just goes, I guess it's just.
Yeah, they go on too long. I understand.
Even like Emotion at the end, like it's not bad. It's just
that one's okay for me. Yeah. I'm not. Like I said, the last two songs I'm not a big fan of.
Right.
So,
but that's mainly the issue of it because the opening track solid and the prime time of your life. I kind of like, except the end kind of goes on.
Yeah, it's prime time of your life. Okay, and that's what I mean. If it was just a minute long, that's where it's in each song. It's almost like there's a great point in the song, but they don't develop the ideas, and the songs don't really add to the song. They just have a great idea, and then they keep it great, and the greatness oversees its welcome in a way, and it's just like it's not great anymore. So when Robot Rock's probably the best example of a song that starts great, and then just like by the end of the song you're like, that is not a great song, and it's kind of weird because it's absolutely the flaw of the album. It's because Robot Rock, I would say, is towards a great track, but I mean, I'm just repeating it. Well, I mean, if I'm using the rules that I said, if I put it A and you put it C, then it's going to be.
Yeah. Good.
Are you fair with that? Okay. Okay, and so that was all of Human After All. Yeah, I think I do like the first track, but it's
even that one's kind of goes a bit like. That's the story of
this album. It is. It really is the story.
Like they have awesome ideas. I mean, like that, and Robot Rock. It's just badass. There's no getting around it for me. But if they had some restraint.
The song shoots itself in the foot basically, and it's almost like every song after song after song. So the album can be aggravating. But so I admit I kind of cheat by just like hear about 2 minutes of the song and then just skip, and then just hear about 2 minutes of the song and skip. And if you do that, it gets better.
Yeah, because it's like what's there is like really good in a lot of places. So
yeah,
that's why it's like it has greatness in it. So
just overshadow greatness. Yeah,
exactly.
But then Random Access Memories. This one's 2013, right? This one I know because this is after you had showed me about Daft Punk, so I was ready for this one to be out.
Release as a new fan of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I never actually bought the album, but I was listening to it just when it came out, and it was I know I downloaded it. I may have bought it digitally. I don't remember how, but I was listening to it, and this album, I don't know how the Daft Punk fans receive this album.
Yeah.
But this one might be my personal favorite Daft Punk album. I know it's probably because of its rock influences. I'm a fan of fusion music, and this one fuses so much where you get stuff like Motherboard, you get stuff like Beyond, you get stuff like I love the electro rock feel, I love the band feel. It just takes everything I love of Daft Punk and puts it into this kind of creative, rock format, and I think it just fuses it all together. And so the way to sell me is just fusion stuff. So it's probably my personal favorite Daft Punk record, but I do think there's some. It's not without its weak points too in the moment, and
agreed.
So for me, I there's one to talk about it, but it's almost S tier for me. It is almost S tier with just how much I like the album and what I want them to do on it. I think it has some. I'm not sure if it outweighs those problems, and I don't think it's really hard because it is almost S tier for me. But I'm just going to give it an A plus, I think, and top of A tier is where I probably put it. But it's the one I go to the most usually, I think, or songs on there. Where would you put it at?
Yeah, it was kind of a hard choice. Yeah, like I'd say like probably A minus or something like that. Like sometimes like a kind of a high B for me, and then other times like an A.
Yeah,
and like just because
it sits on that line, the A to B line.
Yeah, basically, just because but A totally makes sense. Just because it has so many good tracks on it, like you said, the fusion, and like it's just the slick, like perfect production. And a lot of the guests, some of the guests are awesome, and
Pharrell Get Lucky on like the highlight there,
it's just some of the tracks, I guess, like
Lose Yourself to Dance.
Yeah, that's my least favorite.
It might be one of my least favorite Daft Punk songs.
Yeah, they really should have did one appearance by each artist.
But
But yeah, that is one of like my least favorite.
And there is a moment in. Sorry if I'm interrupting.
No.
There's a moment in Lose Yourself to Dance that I actually do love, and it finally builds into it. And it's when the robo vocals come in, and it's like, come on. I do love that part, but it's
like 4 minutes.
I never want to listen to the song to get to that. Okay, it's like I'm never down for the song. So
between that and then some other tracks, like there's no like bad songs on it. I don't think.
Yeah.
But there's just some tracks that aren't as interesting to me, I guess, or that are just okay. So they have like their crazy highlights on here that I love, but there's just a few tracks for me that are just like I could take or leave, I guess.
Yeah,
just for me personally. Yeah.
What about Instant Crush? Because that one I know some people love it, some people hate it.
I don't really like it.
You don't like it? You don't like it? Okay, yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. For some reason, I'm just like, I get frustrated by the fact that Julian Casablancas doesn't sing in his normal rock voice.
He never sings like that.
Like he has an awesome voice, like from Is This It and stuff, like and then he chooses to sing like that the whole time. It's just
in the falsetto.
It's just a weird thing. He could have did that for part of the song at least, but I guess that's just kind of annoys me for maybe petty reason, but it really like it's like, damn, dude.
That's what I was asking about, because
like this, but you chose not to on that.
That's what I was asking about too, because it's like it's weird because I'm someone that I like the song even quite a bit, and but I'm going to agree that it in no way represents Julian Casablancas or any of his work, and maybe he just wanted to try something different to blend in with Daft Punk, but I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, but it feels like we already kind of had Pharrell with his falsetto type of voice, and
Yeah.
we need he would try to match that like with this song for some reason.
Yeah, the same.
But the song itself is good. Like the instrumental, like the melody on it is totally solid. It's just I don't know. I get annoyed by the vocals, I guess, just because of what I know he's capable of. Like how that would have been a badass.
That's what I kind of heard of. Yeah,
like
he's singing his regular voice.
That would have been probably my favorite song.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've actually looked up how to play the bass. This is not completely related, but I've looked up how to play the bass to that song, and the bass is way more complicated in that song than you would think. It starts off, oh, it's just kind of an easy song, and it does start like do 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 do, like kind of boring, but then at the chorus, it gets tricky. It's cool how intricate the chorus is in that song. So, but I was bringing up Instant Crush because that one is a bit of a divisive song. My brother hates the song because of the vocals. I've heard that's the complaints I hear about it. It never bothered me that much, but for sure, I'm going to agree that as my history of the Strokes, I don't know if I call myself a Strokes fan, but I like all the work that I've heard, especially from that album. That album's great.
Yeah, their first two in particular
are
great to me.
Agreed.
On Fire, the second one.
And but yeah, it doesn't represent his work, but
it's just more frustrating on what could have been. Even though the songs.
What about Doing It Right with Panda Bear? Because you like Animal Collective, right?
Yeah,
he's from that.
I love Collective.
So
and Panda, I love his solo stuff too. So I do really like that song, but I do understand how it could be, repetitive or kind of bland or grating to someone else. But I'm biased because I am a Panda fan.
I will say I love that song, and I'm kind of surprised because I know it just says Doing It Right, but it's a matter of I think why I like it so much is going through that whole album, and then it's just it's one of my favorite ending songs. It's just so I get goosebumps listening to it. It's so peaceful, and it's just sort of there's something almost meditative about the way you sing Doing It Right, everybody. Like it's just it's meditative, and it just ends the album on such this peaceful high note. That's how I would call it, as a peaceful high note, and I love the track, but I understand people's criticisms. Like it's just doing it right, it's just
But when they're doing it right, it makes sense.
The song is so right to me. I love that song. So doing it right, and the robot vocals too in it.
That's about this album in particular. I just love that there's so much vocals from them. From both of them. So they really, because that's one thing. Sorry to backtrack, but just on Get Lucky, like. When I first heard that song on the radio, like in the car, like back then, I had no clue. It was like, oh, a new Daft Punk song.
Yeah.
But then I just heard Pharrell in the beginning, like, oh, okay, they have Pharrell. That's awesome. But once their vocals came in, though, that first time, it's like I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Really. I still remember because I was not expecting it. I don't know who would have.
No.
Really, like at that point in the song, but when they came on, it was like, oh, awesome.
That's the best part of the song. I'm glad we backtracked to that part because that's almost my favorite part. That might be my favorite part of I don't know if it's my favorite part. It's one of my favorite parts of that album is that vocal point where they sing and the song comes together in that climax.
Agreed.
And the robo vocals singing like "We're Up All Night to Get Lucky," and they like bounce off each other. We're up all night to get.
Oh my
and then when they sing together, it's like the robo vocals. There's two of them.
The higher pitch and the lower,
it's so cool. I love it so much.
That touch just means everything, dude. Crazy.
I agree. That's why I like. That's why I'm saying highest. It's almost S tier for me. In my heart, this is like my number one. But I do think I don't know. I kind of love I do love Discovery too. So I don't mean to underwhelm. Just for your thoughts, do you like Homework better than this one? Better than Random Access Memories? Like if you're gonna turn, because I do like looking the list as this way. Like if you and me we're gonna turn on music right now, like what Daft Punk album are we gonna turn on? Probably the one most likely is probably Discovery. Like if we're gonna turn on music, we're probably gonna turn on Discovery. Then but it's like, oh wait, we don't have Discovery, the CD broke, or whatever. Which one do we turn on next? My obvious choice, is this one, but I'm just curious. This purely opinion. Do you like?
Really hard to decide. I feel like similarly about each one, like just in that they both the highs.
They're both pretty matched.
Highs. Yeah.
I'd say. No, that's cool.
For either, so
they're both. I want to stick the list like this.
Yeah.
Does that work?
It kind of switches by the day, really. Like Discovery's the king on top, and then those two are like the next in line. Like they're both like.
It's what you're in the mood for, right? Music's mood based too, so it's like, what do we want to hear?
It's so different, both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I'm like want like a more faster pace, like energetic like thing, maybe Homework. But then if I want a more like interesting like Sonic Adventure type thing, then Ram.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know.
It's
almost like mood based at that point.
I think music's really mood based too. That's why I try to bring that up, like because just sometimes you cannot appreciate an album if you're just not in the mood for it. And so that's So I agree with what you just said too. That makes sense. We'll go with the live albums really quick, and then
one more thing. Yeah. Like on Mr. Robot, they put Touch on there. That was like
the show Mr. Robot Touch.
I forgot, but that was like a yes type thing.
Yes.
That show in general though nails music.
That show it does. That show. If you haven't seen Mr. Robot, it's a good show to watch. If you haven't seen Mr. Robot, it's a good show to watch, and it has the song Touch on it, which is one of my favorite tracks on that album too. Right. I love Touch.
Comes in, the children like singing and harmony in the scene. It's just it swells up. It's just
everything all together.
Oh my God. Yeah. So.
Touch and on Mr. Robot, that was a cool moment. I remember. Yeah. With the live albums, because I haven't gone through these I have not gone to these until recently. And I was kind of surprised with how much I liked it. I liked how it blended their works together. This one is just kind of played as one track.
Yeah.
Right. Which
like
is
the whole concert in one recording type.
Yeah, as opposed to the next Alive 2007, which breaks them up into like a track listing. But for me, I think this album. It's probably in here, maybe C, because I probably won't go to it a lot, but I really appreciate the fusion, the combination of all their music together into like a medley track almost it's one long medley track, and it's really good. Yep. It's really good.
Right. It starts off like more familiar, with the funk and stuff, but then like 7 minutes or so it gets to like new stuff that we haven't heard really. Like,
that's this? Some of it did sound
that wasn't on anything else really.
Okay.
Like there are certain parts once it gets going, like 8 minutes in, but it kind of brings back some of the familiar tracks. But I actually put it at B myself. So.
B, okay, cool. That's rematch.
Just because it's good to me, but it's not one I go back to too often. Mainly because it's like one song. So it's like if they broke it up, maybe I'd go to certain parts more. But it's since they did that, I kind of have to like sit and be in this thing, like commit. 45 minutes. It's
good if you're going to work on something and you're putting on headphones and you need some kind of something to work with. It's really good for that, because this is something that I really liked in the album that you don't get from the other Daft Punk songs off the albums directly, is the audience cheering, which the audience cheering when Daft Punk does something crazy with their music, and they're really good musicians. You can hear it in the live performances that they know they're very musically like aware and skilled, and they know how to really make people happy with the music, and they'll do something crazy and the audience just goes nuts, and it's really fun to hear on the album. So
like when certain songs, when the funk comes in or something, like and then they do like a beat switch or something, like when the beat drops and you can hear it getting faster.
Yeah.
And then when the percussion comes in, then they go wild. So
sometimes people won't know what song it's being led into, and then they become aware, and then everyone just starts screaming like, "Yeah, it's the song!" Exactly. It makes for a fun experience. So it's not a little different, but
right. We could have went to one of those shows. It would have been crazy.
I wish, looking back.
Yeah.
Speaking of shows we wish we could have gone to, how about the Live 2007, huh?
Right. Maybe they'll do a Live 2027.
Yeah, right, 2027.
Like a reunion.
The reunion.
One tour, like just a reunion.
They should.
Maybe.
They should.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say they owe it to the fans, but how could you go out like you did, Like, how could you go out like you did? And this album, I don't listen to a whole lot of live records. It's probably one of the better live records I've heard. Again, for that the audience cheering when Daft Punk does so many crazy song combinations on this one, and this is where I might be giving a lot of credit for Human After All, because I like how Robot Rock was blended in on one of the tracks on here, and it all works together so well. I don't know if I'm going to listen to it a lot, so I'd probably sit on the A to B list. It's probably around here for me. I'd probably go to, I don't know, it's right around here for me. Okay, so it's probably B plus.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, considering like a lot of the songs are from that one on that. That one was like their newest one, so like the emphasis was probably on that album more so.
That makes sense.
Just because like the tracks to a lot of people work better on that one than they work on the Homework. Like I've heard that at least people say like
the tracks work better on here than on Homework, or than Human After All.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
Human After All. That's what I meant. Yeah, like the songs there, like they have some great ideas on that. They just like execute them better on this one, or more polished, I guess. I makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, I still, I don't go to live ones that often either. Like the mashup concept is cool in itself, but yeah, I'd still probably say like, I don't know. For me, I guess I was more of a C on it, but I understand the B makes sense though. Like,
where did you put this one? Was this C for you?
B for Alive.
B.
Yeah,
okay. So. This one you would put here.
Yeah, but just because it's like some of the mix-ups I did like, but a lot of it was just okay to me, I guess, or that they didn't really mix it up. That it wasn't like that interesting, I guess. Like, and they used like too long on 3 or 4.
Yeah, that was
like that song.
Why?
You use like on you.
That was
you
weird.
Have all these songs by that 3 albums worth, and you use this track on 3 to 4.
That's
mix-ups. Like the one that people, the main one people probably had issues with on Discovery. Like they used that one.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Rubbing it in your face. You will like the song. You will like it.
Right. Which it has some. It's a good track, but it's just stuff like that. It's just kind of annoying. It's just like
I like the
they just did a lot of the same mashups, like where they should have mashed more different tracks up. That's all. It just felt like a kind of missed opportunity some of the time.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, I like the audience cheering. I do like the mix-ups. It had its I didn't realize that maybe the points that I liked I was kind of just more zoned in on, but I didn't realize Too Long plays that many times in it too. Yeah. And so it's
like, man, like it's some cool, definitely awesome stuff on here, especially like I'm looking up like superheroes. Like it's
I love
second to last song on there.
I think the album starts better than the opening part. Like the first 4 something tracks or 5 are better. Like the first leg of the record is better than the last leg. But I love how it started. and no, I just had fun with it. But
yeah, no, it's still solid for sure. Just yeah, I don't know. I guess I was more.
We'll put it here.
Critical, but yeah.
What about the Tron Legacy soundtrack? For me, well, I know it's not on the tier list, but we'll talk about it for the Daft Punk fans who are probably asking, "Where's the Tron soundtrack?" Yeah, we're just focusing on the big studio album since that one's a soundtrack. I just didn't use a tier list that counts it. I think the soundtrack is fine. It's good. I still haven't seen the Tron movies. If I had to put it, rank it, I'd put it in C because it's good, but I don't really have a reason to listen to it. So it is C. It's not. I don't think it's lacking anything, but I just don't really have any wow factor or hook that would put it into my upper tiers. So C is just where it's it.
Yeah, it's like it's solid. It's perfect. Works well enough for the movie, which I did like the movie, but as well. But yeah, I mean, I understand why they picked them or however that went about. Like, if I forget if Daft Punk like went to the director or vice versa.
If they sought out Daft Punk.
Yeah, but it was a good fit and understandable. But it was like any number of people could have probably done it as well.
Yeah, like John Carpenter probably could have done something like that. He makes a lot of synthwave music too, so he could have done something. I mean, in the same realm. But Daft Punk does feel like the right choice. And if I was, I don't know, trying to make an electronic computerized movie, that's probably the band I would say like, hey, can you make music? Right. They would just be expensive, but but people would like, would that would bring in attention. So I guess I understand the choice. In the music, I would assume it sounds like, just when I was going through it, it sounds like it would work really good in the movie with visuals and stuff. Yes, that was basically what I got. Like I'm not getting the full picture with the music. Right. Yeah. And so it's
it does make a difference for certain soundtracks if they work really well in the movie, but it doesn't offer as much on its own versus some soundtracks like I don't listen to them that much in general, but certain ones I could listen to on its own. And need
like the song. I mean, this is a single song, not a soundtrack, but the song "Skyfall" from Adele for the James Bond movie Skyfall. I love that track. That's a really cool track, and that's a soundtrack track that I go to semi often or every now and then. So.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm with you. I don't really go to soundtracks a whole lot. And so I would put in C. I guess we put it just in C. So we got Discovery as the king, with then Homework and Ram is next. It's a pretty balanced tier list. And I think we got it fair too. I don't like having tier lists for everything is S or great or anything like that. I feel like we're trying to put it under the microscope a little bit and just be fair to. But it's all good. Nothing. It looks like we have no skips, no lackings. Yeah. Everything from Daft Punk is
exactly.
it's good. Yeah.
And like with Pharrell's, Lego movie coming up.
That's right.
Like having them as Legos, at least like it's
characters
on the front,
or something.
Yeah, it's on the front cover of the movie or the thumbnail for it. But I think they had a small cameo in the film too, like a concert scene, since that's a big moment in Pharrell's life. So being
because he's I don't know if he's directing it, but but I know he's like I heard it was his movie, so
at least producing or something.
Right, he's a
like that. Yeah, but that was cool to see. Like they were.
I'll have to check it out if it's. I mean, I'll probably see it with my kids or something, but it's
cool.
That'll be really cool. Yeah, it's cool that he includes it and that he helped them. They helped Pharrell with, and now.
Exactly. He blew up after that. So
now he's helping them.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens with the band as well, since unfortunately,
Yeah, I wish they had made more stuff like Ram. Just one more album like it, even if it wasn't as good.
Right.
They've got like 3 and more, electronic stuff, and then they come out with Ram, and it's like the start, chapter 1 of a new era of Daft Punk.
That could have been.
and then they just don't do anything, and their silence was so weird because they felt on top of the world sort of at that moment, at the moment of Ram. It felt like everything they had worked to get, but maybe they saw themselves at like such a high point, and they didn't. And I've heard this perspective from artists where they don't want to ruin their career and their name, so maybe they thought that like they had put out all their like good ideas, and they didn't want to risk putting out a bad idea to tarnish their discography. Not that I don't really think like that. I think that they should just be able to be put out more work, but I get it. I've heard that perspective too. So maybe that's it. They wanted to not tarnish their reputation. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, that's very
because they seem so good. They're so good.
And they had years they could have taken as long as they needed. There was no rush, but to just cut it off was kind of the
just say we're done,
instead of just like we might make a new one day. We're just not sure what we're gonna do. That would have been preferable.
Right. Just
because not like shutting the door or anything.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if they had like a falling out or something, or because like you never know, like duos and trios and stuff. It's a band at the end of the day. Like people have differing opinions. Like even these albums might have not been the most like happy time like in production if they were like really had differing views.
And challenging each other and stuff.
Yeah. It might have been frustrating to make Ram. I don't know.
I'm
not sure.
They might have like overdone themselves on the album, where it's hard to coordinate with all those people and
so they might have been like thinking about it and just let it sit, and then eventually both of them might have been like, I think we're done or something. But bands have come back all the time, like LCD Sound System and stuff. So
right.
Like they announce their retirement and then
and they come back and
So
bands do it a lot. And
so
hopefully they come back. Hopefully, I always just wanted one more from them, but
exactly.
I mean, I guess what we got is good. It just feels like
I'm glad we got even this. So it's cool.
Right. So thank you to Daft Punk for that awesome music. And I guess as our bonus, just for the end bonus, we asked Evan to put together the top 10 favorite songs of Daft Punk. So we have our own top 10 songs. There's not a tier list for this, so we just have our own little notes that we'll just read. So if you have your favorite Daft Punk songs, post them below. What's your favorite? Because I'm kind of curious actually, because so many people have different like Ram could be someone's favorite, Homework could be someone's favorite. I suspect we'd see a lot of number ones, but I actually think for my number one might be a little different. So I'm kind of excited to get to mine, number one. So I guess trying to think of how to approach I guess
I can't number mine. I don't know what my number one would be, so I just did a like non-numerical order, just like listed the songs basically. Just at this point, it's just too hard for me to pick like my number one favorite or in order.
It works better for me if I say like, here's my like top 10 and then here's my top 5, if that kind of makes sense. And the top 5 are very blurry for me. So, but I would say for my top 10, I would say Beyond, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, Give Life Back to Music, Doing It Right, and Robot Rock. Those have made my top 10.
Okay.
Robot Rock is, again, I'm kind of cheating with that one because I gotta cut it off, but I love what it's doing.
Yeah. The parts, a lot of the song is like just crushing it.
But when it starts, man, it's like one of the highest points I've ever heard of Daft Punk. It's such an adrenaline rush that so I'm kind of cheating with it, but it's just a favorite song. It's just like I like to hear it, but that's all. What about can you do a top? The first top 5. So the top, or I guess if you want to see your whole list, you can now. So I did 5. You can do 10, and then I'll do my next 5.
Yeah, I kind of named them like in that order, sort of. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, I guess Revolution 909, like Fresh, Around the World, Digital Love, Something About Us,
Mm-hmm.
Voyager, Face to Face, Give Life Back to Music, Get Lucky, and Touch. So
cool.
It's like the top 10.
Yeah, Touch is really good too.
Yeah, it's those are the top 10. I could probably put it like do a 5, but I just had those listed as my.
Yeah, I feel like I should have Touch in here too.
Favorites.
But it's hard with the top 10 because it was like I felt like there was a 15 or so that I could really make it into my top 10 in a way.
There's other songs that I want on there too, but the 10, it's like there can only you have to. That's the point of even doing that.
Yeah. I think for my 5 though, my 5 that my top 5 for Daft Punk, it's really blurry for me with these ones, but Face to Face, Something About Us, Around the World, Voyager, these ones. And I don't know if I'd say it's kind of my favorite Daft Punk song because it's the most inspirational for me. Giorgio by Moroder. I love that song. That song, I'm not sure if it's number 1, but it's kind of insane to me. I love listening. I know it's just him talking, but it's like a testament of their creativity. It gets so crazy when you get this
break up after that too when he's done talking, or that pivot moment, like the click, and then it just goes on this odyssey.
Dude, it's for sure an odyssey, and I'm just like engaged the whole way through. I get like goosebumps with it. It is
right. It has like a swelling orchestral thing at the end.
I feel like what I listened to the whole Tron Legacy for, I got in that one track basically. Like that one track feels so astounding. Yeah. And then I like that this just is like icing on the cake or sprinkles on the cake or what have you. But I like that there's a bit of a moral message in there too. I never am holding a song to its lyrics, but I like when he says that there's a point where he says, once you give up the idea that music is about being correct and you just start, I like that he's saying break the rules. He's saying go experiment with music. He's saying just live the music and he's handling in the artistic anti-rule thing, break the rules, and I love that
concept on what to do.
And so I Giorgio by Moroder is just such a high point, and I think it really demonstrates their like almost a peak of their creativity because it just sounds like an interview, but they made this crazy song out of just Giorgio by Moroder just talking, and it actually feels meaningful. So I actually just feel like I'm getting an emotional, meaningful song with some of their most creative.
Highlight. Sure.
Yeah, but previously I've always said Voyager is like number 1 or Around the World. Also Something About Us and Face to Face. Those are just like my go-to Daft Punk songs. That's like if I imagine Daft Punk, I hear those songs like Voyager and stuff. So.
Just a bop to say.
That's so I don't know if people talk about Giorgio by Moroder at all, but
I guess some of them get annoyed by the talking thing, but I don't mind that really. Like it's not even that long either. Like it's
very little.
And it's interesting. Like, and he's just sounds he's an awesome figure in the music world. Like so, it's like what's the word? Like it was a pioneer.
Yeah, he was.
So it's like it makes sense to do a tribute like that. So I don't really mind that, but that's some people's issue. I think with it is that
like why is he not singing? I can't deal with this spoken talking and stuff.
Who is this guy? They don't even read don't even know.
Right. And it's just I'm not very familiar with Giorgio. I just know he historically helped revolutionize like electronic music. I know he explains some of what he does on the track where I just don't understand the technicalities, I guess. I don't
I'm not too well versed either.
Of the machinery he's talking about, but I understand that he's saying that he changed history and he didn't know. He was just trying to be inventive with music.
The sound of the
70s and of the future, and it's like so when we put the click to the track and we did something to the track to the click track, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but
didn't know what the impact would be here.
And then right as you like don't know what he's talking about, it gets into the next part, dun 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 dun, and it's so cool for me. I love that song so much. It's
I contemplated putting it too, but yeah, it still is like amazing.
But yeah, I'm mostly the same too. And some like give life back to music. That's like and Touch. Those are like probably should have been in my top 10, but it's like hard to fit. You know, it's a too small of a closet
It is tough,
to fit all these Daft Punk clothes in.
I don't have enough RAM in my
not enough RAM to hold all the list.
Exactly.
But I think that'll conclude. I think we've talked about Daft Punk way more than I thought we would be able to. I was expecting this to be a little bit more shorter, given that they've got 6 albums that we're ranking in a top 10 list. But I mean, they're a band that's worth talking about. So they're a band that's worth celebrating, and hopefully they come back sometime. So thank you to Daft Punk for the music, and thank you for watching and listening to the video. If you have any comments, leave that below. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. I hope you have a great day, and salute you. And thanks to Devin for joining me. Devin does the intro songs at the end, so I'll probably cut to the intro song, the outro song too. So Devin helps with that. So thank you, Devin. Well, probably have you back for some other video. Radiohead tier list maybe. So Radiohead.
Yeah, exactly. They're back in the studio, I heard.
Are they? Oh yeah, and the Smile too, and Smile's got stuff coming out. But I'll draw a line here. Thank you. I hope you have a good day. Shut her out. See ya. I'm catching a ride, you know it's alright. Catching a ride, we're gonna take flight. I miss the boat, too tired.